In the spring of 1940, as Nazi tanks thundered through France and the Luftwaffe ruled Europe's skies, a quiet engineer named Edgar Schmurd sat at a small wooden desk in Inglewood, California. He was 45 years old, a man of calm precision and quiet vision. On his desk lay a simple sketch, a design that would become the most remarkable fighter plane of World War II, the P-51 Mustang. The twist? No one had asked him to build it. The U.S. Army Air Corps hadn't called. There was no contract, no plan. Schmurd was working on faith alone, driven by a belief that he could build something better. If he failed, his company would take the loss, and his career would be over. Born in Hagen, Germany in 1909, Schmurd grew up captivated by flight. The Wright brothers, Blériot, Fokker. Those were his heroes. After the First World War, he worked for Fokker, the firm that built the Red Baron's triplane. Then, in 1930, he sailed for America, with little more than blueprints and dreams. By 1936, he had joined North American Aviation, a modest company known for training planes, not fighters. They weren't Boeing, they weren't Lockheed, they were underdogs. Then came April 1940. The British Purchasing Commission arrived in California, desperate for help. Britain was losing aircraft faster than they could be built. They asked North American to produce P-40 Warhawks under license. But Schmurd and company president James Dutch Kindleberger saw an opportunity. Why copy an old fighter when they could build a new one, better, faster, sleeker? Schmurd told the British, calmly but boldly, "We can deliver a superior fighter in 120 days." It sounded impossible, and yet the British agreed. In May, the contract was signed. Schmurd gathered 150 engineers and set them to work around the clock. His secret weapon was a new discovery from NACA, a laminar flow wing that reduced drag dramatically. On October 26, 1940, test pilot Vance Breeze took off in the prototype, the NA-73X. It flew beautifully, light, stable, fast. The British called it the Mustang. But perfection came with a catch. At low altitude, the Mustang was superb. Above 15,000 feet, the Allison engine gasped for air. The plane had the body of a champion and the lungs of a runner who couldn't breathe. Then, in 1942, salvation came from across the sea. British test pilot Ronald Harker of Rolls-Royce flew the Mustang and instantly knew its potential. He sent a message to headquarters: "Mustang needs Merlin engine." The Rolls-Royce Merlin, the same engine that powered Spitfires and Lancasters, had a two-stage supercharger that kept full power even at 30,000 feet. Without waiting for American approval, Rolls-Royce fitted a Merlin 61 to the Mustang. The results were astonishing. Test pilot Ronnie Shepard said it climbed like a homesick angel. When American engineers tested their own version, the XP-51B, they found the same miracle. The Mustang that had once struggled at 15,000 feet now fought easily at 35,000. By early 1943, the Packard Motor Company in Detroit was building Merlins under license. The new Mustangs rolled off the assembly lines, ready for war. But Schmurd's real genius was in the wings. His laminar flow design delayed turbulence and cut drag by nearly 40%. It demanded perfection: flush rivets, smooth paint, polished surfaces. North American's craftsmen achieved it. The reward was range. With extra fuel tanks, the Mustang could fly 750 miles in combat, twice as far as most Allied fighters. For the first time, American bombers could be escorted deep into Germany and brought home again. On March 4, 1944, 64 Mustangs escorted B-17 bombers all the way to Berlin. German pilots were stunned. Dogfights erupted high above the Reich. The Mustangs, faster, steadier, deadlier, swept the sky. Bombers reached Berlin safely. Luftwaffe commander Hermann Göring later said, "When I saw Mustangs over Berlin, I knew the war was lost." From that moment, the Mustang became the sword of the skies. Its 6.50 caliber Browning machine guns tore through enemy fighters and ground targets alike. It could dive past 500 miles per hour and still climb fast and true. Rookie pilots loved it. The Mustang forgave mistakes and magnified courage. Between January 1944 and May 1945, P-51s destroyed nearly 5,000 enemy aircraft. Bomber losses fell from 20% to under 2%. The Mustang didn't just win dogfights, it won the air war. After victory, the P-51 could have faded into history, but war had one more call for it. In Korea, reborn as the F-51, the Mustang flew over 60,000 combat missions as a ground attack aircraft. It served in Israel, Sweden, South Africa, and even the Dominican Republic, which kept flying them until 1984. Edgar Schmurd went on to design the F-86 Sabre, the jet that ruled the skies of Korea. Its lines, its wings, its spirit, all carried the Mustang's DNA. The principles Schmurd proved in war shaped modern flight itself, from the Boeing 737 to the Airbus A320. Edgar Schmurd, the German immigrant no one asked to build a fighter, changed aviation forever. He proved that innovation doesn't come from orders or committees, but from vision, courage, and the refusal to accept limits. And when Mustangs flew over Berlin, they carried more than bombs. They carried one man's impossible dream, drawn in pencil on a wooden desk in California in the spring of 1940. And the world has never flown the same way since.